In this tutorial we continue how to animate a rainbow in Moho 12. Alright, welcome to part 2 of how to animate a rainbow. In the first part I showed you how to basically animate the rainbow in a bow, and I can show it to you right here. If I go through the timeline, you can see this is what we created. And if you haven't seen that part, I will put a link of that in the description below, so be sure to check that one out. But anyway, what we are going to do now is making that magical dust that you saw at the beginning. What we are going to do is make a new group layer, and we double click on it and we just name it magical star, or something like that. Then we make a vector layer, and we are going to name this one star, and we are going to put it inside a group layer. Then we take the draw shape tool, and we choose the oval. We deselect auto stroke, and we choose the color white, so that's good. And we also are going to effect, and we click on soft edge. And for those who don't know what that is, soft edge basically means that you create a, like I said, a blur radius, kind of blurry effect on the edge of the object. So it's set to 11 right now, so that's good. And then I'm just going to draw a oval right here. There we go. So now it just simply looks like an oval, but if we would go to preview, this is how it looks like. You see this blurry edge that it has right now is because of the soft edge effect, and that is what we want. So what we need to do right now is make sure it's make sure that it is big enough to connect with the rainbow, because we are going to animate it with the rainbow soon. But before we start, we are also going to make another layer, and we are calling this one magic. And we're basically doing the same thing again. We are going to create a oval again, a white oval, and but this time we are going to make it a bit smaller. And we are also going to change the blur radius of the soft edge. So we click right here. We are going to use soft edge, but we are going to change the blur radius to 3. And then we are going to create a oval smaller like the other one. So if we would go to preview, you can see the difference. You know, there's a bit less blur radius than this one, and that is what we want. I think I'm going to make it a bit smaller even. So just like this. There we go. And I put it right in front of the star, so it's not visible. Alright. Then we want to create the effect like some magic is coming out of it, you know, the way you also see in Disney movies, you know. I'm just going to show you how it's done. What we need to do is inside the group layer we make a particle layer, and we are also going to name this one magic. And then we put this layer inside of the particle layer. And if I go to the particle layer, what happens, you can already see it, multiple of these objects of this object that we drawn, they multiply, and not only that, they move everywhere around, and that is what the particle layer does. Right now it doesn't really look like magic, it looks more like snow, but we are going to change the way it moves and the amount of objects that we see right now. And for that we need to go to the particle layer, and what you get is I'm just going to play it so you can see how it moves. We need to go to particle options, and then you get all these numbers that represent each something. So particle count is the amount of particles that you see, the lifetime is how long they last, and so on and so on. You are free to experiment with this how you want it, but I have already written down the numbers, I've already practiced with it, so I'm just going to fill the numbers the way I want them, but feel free to do it differently. So particle count is going to be 20. Preview particles is going to be 5. And if you look right here, you can already see the difference a little bit. So lifetime frames is going to be 24. No, I'm sorry. Lifetime frame is going to be 36. Source width and source height stay the same. Source depth also stays the same. Velocity becomes 1.50. Velocity spread becomes 2, and damping stays the same. The direction of it, I'm going to move it a little bit right here. Like, let's see, doesn't really matter, but kind of like this. Okay, and this one, acceleration, stays the same. Spread, I'm going to fill the number 20 for that, and rate also stays the same. Finally, I'm also going to click evenly spaced, randomize, playback, and I'm going to deselect orient particles. So as you can see right now, it has changed a lot. So still, now I look at it, it still doesn't really look like magic, but if I would click on preview, you can kind of get the idea of it. So what we need to do right now is to animate it with the rainbow. So this rainbow, I'm just going to show it to you. It starts right here. So this rainbow appears, and then what we want is this object to appear in front of it, so that it's basically the star from where the rainbow is appearing, kind of like the Disney intro. So what we are going to do is putting the magical star right here. The rainbow is right here, so we put it here. Make sure to make the magical star invisible, and you do that by double clicking and then deselecting visible. And we click OK, because otherwise you would see all these little circles flying around, and we don't want that yet. So it starts at frame 24, so we start there. So we move through the timeline, and this is the moment when we can see the rainbow. So I'm going back. First we click on the transform layer tool so that a keyframe is created, and I'm also going to make a keyframe for rotating it. So you hold your mouse, and then you see this little circle surrounding the arrow, and then you just click, and then a keyframe for rotating the object will also be created. Then we go to frame 30. Let's see. Or maybe we just go a little further. Frame 36. Yeah. At frame 36, we are going to take the object. And by the way, I forget, at this point right here, we have to make it visible, of course, because otherwise we don't see it. We double click on it, and we click on visible. Click OK. And so from there it becomes visible. So right now you can see it like this. And we also are going to rotate it a little bit like this. There we go. So now you have this effect. You can already see it a bit. So we just have to go through all the frames like this, and then just put it in front of the rainbow again, and always be sure to check how it looks like. So right now you can see the distance is too far, so what we do, we just go to frame 42 and we just put it a bit right here. So yeah, actually I'm going to put it closer right here like this, and put it closer again. Closer right here. Yeah. Okay. So I'm just going to speed up the video because I think you understand right now I'm doing it. So I'm going to speed up the video and then I'll be back in a minute. Alright, so now that we have animated all, I can show you how it looks like. So there you go. So one thing that we need to do right now is make it invisible right here. So we double click on the magical star and we click on, or we deselect visible again, so it becomes invisible. So finally what I'm going to do, I'm going to export the animation right here, and that way you can see it better, because right now on screen you don't see it that well. So I'm going to export it and then I'll be back in a minute. Okay, so I've just exported the animation right here, and I'm going to play it and then you can see how it looks like. And there we go. So that is basically how I would animate a rainbow. So I hope you guys learn a lot about this. If you have any more questions, leave a comment below, and thanks for watching. If you found this video helpful, then please subscribe for more. I make new tutorials every week on Wednesday on how to work with Moho 12. Thanks for watching, guys.